Hey everybody, and welcome to the 2021 Wyoming Classic. This is part one of round one at Dry Creek Disc Golf Course here in Cheyenne, Wyoming. I'm Coda Turner here with Dale Ryden.
Thanks, Coda. Great little intro there for us. This course plays dominantly towards the creek, as you can see right here. So
most of the holes have some kind of OB, and let's see if Tyler here can lead the way and stay out of that a little bit in this crazy wind we had today.
Yep, there we had Tyler Liebman out of Fort Collins. This is Marshall McGill out of Arvada, Colorado. He was definitely kind of struggling with some new plastic there. He's recently switched to All Prodigy, so we'll see how that treats him.
A new bag can be really tough to get a hand on in these kind of conditions.
Yeah. There's Tyler Kirkpatrick. We'll just call him TK because we got two Tylers. He's out of Arvada as well, I believe.
And so is Joe. A lot of the
Marshall was actually out of Denver, not Arvada. They're about the same, though.
A lot of northern Colorado coming up here to Wyoming and represent.
Yeah. So here we have hole one. Plays from up on the hill down towards the creek, right in the middle of a pretty crazy tree.
We call it the spider tree, and it's only about 15 feet short of the creek as well.
Yeah, it makes for a scary putt if you're too far back. And it can definitely come into play on the drive if you're not careful. That was just about perfect. Might have that one branch in his way, trunk I guess it'd be.
And the footing might be off, but that's still a really good shot. With this wind in the circle is going to be great.
Bang it.
Ooh. Oh no.
Oh, and just a little bit too far. Actually, quite a bit too far.
That looked good from this angle.
Yeah.
Let's see if TK can navigate these branches.
Just spiking one in. A little short. As long as he's not blocked by a trunk, he'll have a look.
That one horizontal branch that we all love so much.
Right. Joe going with the low shot. Ooh, those bushes can definitely be an issue. You're almost better off where TK is here. Oh, he did try to go over that branch that was sticking out. Looks like Joe's got it to deal with, which is inevitable when you're on that side.
Yep, use that tailwind to push it down from over top of that branch. That was a great putt.
That was. Yep, Tyler is having to lean out pretty far. Good thing he's got long legs.
It's a good birdie.
Yeah, this one's actually tougher to get than it looks, because you don't want to push too far, because you end up going OB.
But if you go OB, you're OB 9 times out of 10 pretty close to the basket.
Right. TK here to clean up his par.
This hole was averaging 2.5. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
it was the easiest hole of the day. So
it actually had 50% pars and 50% birdies, as did this next hole. And we got away with 50% of our card having a par and 50% having a birdie. So I guess that's fitting. So this one's just pretty much a big hyzer. You just want to put it under the middle of the 3 trees out in the fairway. If I remember right, it was kind of tailwind direction right here.
By the tree itself, so you want to be low coming into that landing zone.
Right.
Which is hard with these bushes right in your face.
Yeah, because you got to get it up high right away.
That was great. Sounded like he hit the pole there.
He might have dinked it a little bit. Joe trying to do the same thing and comes pretty close to doing just that.
That was a good shot.
Marshall here. And that pretty much is what you see most people do. Is
that was good.
That was nice.
Yeah,
that tree helped
really
him a lot.
The tailwind that they're getting right now.
Yeah, and the wind still wasn't up too much at this point. It was like the third or fourth hole, I think, that it really started picking up for these guys. So in a way, them being the last card off for the Pro Division kind of gave the guys that went out earlier a little bit of an advantage, because a lot of them are almost done with their rounds before this wind that we're about to get really picks up.
Great birdie.
Yep, that's the way you want to start this course. See if Tyler can do the same. This basket's always a little weird to putt at, so it's really good to see a couple of them being able to get it. That like down in that hole there is kind of a tricky spot. It just it makes it deceiving on how hard,
it's like a downhill putt, like in all directions.
Right.
TK will tap in the solo par there, but that's pretty good. That's above average for the hole. So
yeah. And you got a couple thousand rated players on the card. It's definitely what you expect to see, though.
And here we come from the two easiest holes of the day to the second hardest.
Yeah, this one being a par 3 at 480 feet, and you can't just go straight at it to try and flex one out there. There's a tree right off the tee, right there in the middle of the fairway there, that kind of prevents a good S-curve shot to really drag that distance out. So you got to be able to get there and pure hyzer like Tyler did there.
He got tangled up in what we call the 400-foot tree. And
Yeah.
it's still 80 foot out. It's not bad.
No, definitely an intimidating approach shot, though, because that basket's maybe 10, 15 feet at most past
the green
that.
sloping toward the water.
Yeah, the ground sloping the whole way, and usually, especially at this time of year, not much foliage on the ground to slow anything.
Joe hit it as well, but he was able to punch through another 15, 20 feet.
Yeah. Definitely not a real birdieable hole. Marshall's cutting a little more left than you usually like,
the
but
left play actually.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with being over there, as long as you don't end up in the creek that's over there.
Yeah.
Or buried in the trees, because some of those branches can be a pain.
Comes up a little short on that. I think the tailwind might have beat that down a little bit.
Yeah, but really, nobody's getting up there for a putt, so it doesn't really do him any harm. He just has a little bit longer approach shot.
That was a great approach, too.
Yeah, probably a little shorter than he'd like, 'cause the wind is starting to pick up a little more now.
Oh.
It's just with the slope of the green and everything, it's so hard to bring yourself to get all the way up there, because it's so easy for it to just continue on out of bounds.
Looks like Marshall pushed a little bit away from it as well.
Yeah. See if Joe can get up there close. Yep, that's what you want to do.
I don't want to
It
putt,
helps when you're
Nobody
just
wants
jump
to putt on this
putting,
hole.
though. Well, and like I said, the wind's coming up, so even the short putts are getting kind of intimidating, because it really got whipping there.
As you see,
Yeah, it's holding that one up, just keeping it rolling.
might have been what pushed it low in the first place, too.
Yeah, a little bit nose down or something. You get that wind seeing the top of the disc, and it'll just drop it. That was a good par by TK. It's a good putt.
It looked like it just kind of flopped out of his hand there.
Yeah, I think I think he just was getting a little nervous about the wind and didn't want it lifting it and carrying it away all crazy. And I know that messes with my putts really bad sometimes.
That'll be a double for Tyler, a par for TK, and
well, for Marshall and Joe.
And Marshall, yeah, those were some good putts and good drives.
Yeah, and three
and
is
Ty had
about
just had
the
a bad
best you
break.
can
That's
do.
all
Yeah.
it was. It was a bad break with a low putt and a wind push toward the water there.
So now we come to one of our shorter holes, but definitely not one of the easier ones.
You have the OB Creek all the way down the fairway, and then the OB sidewalk and beyond to the left.
Yeah, and the sidewalk, not the wall, so there's not relief off the wall.
Ooh.
You can see that wind just kind of keeping them rolling.
Right at Circle's Edge up against that wall. That's not a bad spot. Slightly nervy putt, but today everything will be.
Yeah.
Deep. That's the safer play.
It is the safer play. I think it was kind of a shock to them on how short this one was, so they were having a little trouble dialing back. Ooh, he got a nice roll away from the wall. That's always what you want. It sucks being pressed up against that wall, just trying to figure out your footing
Sometimes
for
you're
a
better
throw.
off just taking up onto the wall if you have to.
Yeah.
It's looking good. Ooh, deep as well.
Yeah. That leaves for a pretty long kind of headwind putt. I think full on headwind actually.
Yeah, that's...
And it was blowing a good 20 to 25 miles an hour at least right now, and gusting over 30, I'm betting.
You can hear it whipping now. Oh, that was alright bid from Marshall. It was a little bit awkward up against the wall. It's a tough, really tough putt to line up.
Even where Joe is, it's hard to... because you can't really lean back at all.
From Joe there. It's a safe bet, though. Now he's putting away from the water. Totally safe.
TK's got the best look of the group here.
No!
Oh, that even started to rock into the basket. I
That's
don't
rude.
know how that blew out.
Oh. It's these old baskets, man.
Yeah, that's the way you want to win.
That was such a good putt. Undeserved.
Yeah, dead center, not even very high above the rim.
Makes
But
it star
headwind
par.
putt, and those can always do some weird things. I've seen weird stuff happen on headwind putts. Well, and windy putting. But star par around for that one. So here's hole 5. This one's lined the right side with trees and a creek.
Left
So-
is totally safe and open.
Yeah, safe
All the
and
way
open, but definitely leaves you an intimidating putt back towards the creek.
If you're going for your birdie, which all of these guys are, you're just trying to hug this tree line straight down and skip up to it. A little bit like that, hopefully, a little bit more right than that, but that's not a bad throw.
Yeah, no, that gives you a birdie look, and you're not putting straight at the creek. At least this one has a couple bushes there where you have a chance if you run it that it might catch.
Ooh,
Wow, that looked like it grazed chains almost.
that was beautiful.
TK breaking out his thumber here, it looks like. He has a pretty good thumber. He'll be
290
right
foot
there
thumber.
by Joe.
Ooh, get off it.
Oh, just needed a little bit of flip. It's so hard to get yourself to really turn him over the way you need to for the shot Tyler was going for, though. If you go a little too much, you're in the creek, so that was a safe miss. Gives him an easy 3. Marshall's got a look at a 2 here.
A little high on the release.
Yeah.
Honestly, it could have just been a little nose up. It's starting to get real wicked out there.
Yeah, you can see how that one, even after it was bouncing back towards him, it rolled forward again.
Good putt.
Stupid air. Stupid pars.
Oh.
I think he rushed it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Tyler not taking any risks, just set it down in there.
That was the only safe putt of the day.
So another double bogey on the card there.
Yeah,
That puts
Joe
Marshall
claimed the
actually
birdie
over
on that hole. That was
par.
a great shot.
Yeah, that was.
Next hole is pretty much the exact same hole. It's a little bit more open on the right-hand side.
Yeah, you have room to throw a hyzer, kind
It's
of.
the same length. It's about the same distance from the creek. It's just take the exact same disc you threw last time and throw it again.
Pretty much, yep. And it looks like that's what Joe did. Came up a little bit short, though. That's definitely a little further away than he'd have liked to have been.
TK pulling the thumber up again.
If you got it, use it, I guess, right? Once this wind starts coming up, it seems like it exposes the plates a little too much to that wind.
He liked it at first, but it got eaten by that tall grass.
Yeah. If you got it, this is a really good shot option on this hole. It's a little bit out of my sidearm's reach, but it definitely...
You really got to tempt that manhole just like he did. That was perfect.
Yeah, that was exactly how you want to do that. Marshall going with kind of the hyzer line. You can't let it hyzer too much, but it's definitely available.
That's going to be a real scary birdie or just a layup for a 3.
Yeah.
Oh my god, good bid.
It was a great putt. Half bid.
Yeah, that was a good call. Kind of played it safe after how the last hole treated him. That's a good thing. Oh, just a
He
little
knew it out of the hand.
little low. Tyler for the lone birdie this time.
That was a great drive. A lot of really simple, easy threes. Making
Yeah.
sure it's the right disc.
They do kind of look the same there. Yep, everybody else just clean up their par. That gets Tyler back under par for the round.
And gives him the box on the next hole.
Yep.
Coming back the opposite direction.
So now they're turning around throwing into the headwind instead of having all this tailwind they've been enjoying so far, if we can call it that. So it was really blowing by this point.
This one plays well to the Anheuser flip or the sidearm these days with those trees growing up by the bench.
Yeah, those little aspens really are becoming an issue. So they had to go check, but that turned out it was safe. The path is safe in that section, so he was okay there. Joe did not want to be on the path.
Overflipped it. Oh, be deep.
Oh, and just too far. TK breaking out the thumber again. And the wind did play with that a little. It didn't let it go left at all, but it sure pushed it to the right at the end. Let's see if Marshall can dial here in between all of these guys.
That was
Yep,
good.
that's about what you want to do.
It's a really comfortable basket to run at too, no matter where you're at.
Yeah, there's no real fear of having it get too crazy on you. That hole that it's in just kind of collects them right towards the basket. So.
Joe to save his par from the OB. And he's just laying that one up. Smart move.
Yeah. Well, those branches stick out so far, he may not have had much choice in the matter, though. Oh, and just off the chains, that was a really good bid. Marshall for a 2 here. Definitely not seeing as many birdies as I was hoping on this course, but once this wind picked up, that's not too surprising. That's a great putt indeed.
Yeah, this was actually one of the easier holes on the day. Not a lot of bogeys, just a lot of pars.
Yeah. Yeah, the birdies got kind of hard to come by once that wind picked up like it did. Everything plays so close to the creek for the most part that it's kind of foolish to run some of those baskets from very far out.
Realistically, if you're not in circle one, you
At least in the
shouldn't
wind.
necessarily be running them in this wind.
Right. On a normal day, there's only a few that I'd say that about,
Yeah.
but on a day like this, man, it makes it really hard to want
This
to run
hole is
those.
actually kind of a reprieve from all of that. For a lot of these big arms, it's just a big hyzer play around all these trees, away from the OB.
And kind of playing with the wind so you can get that nice hyzer carry.
Marshall went for the low screamer, which is another good play here, but he got caught up in that bush just a little,
Yeah,
just
the
enough.
low shot brings a lot more shrubbery in play. Tyler's going nice and high so as not to worry about that.
A little deep, I can't tell.
Yeah, he went over all those aspens, kind of got lost in the... It's hard when they go right over the top of you like that. It's pretty tough to
And
follow
that's a
them.
great shot. He's
Yeah,
got
that's
maybe
a
one or
good
two
spot to
branches
be.
to worry about, but he can actually run a birdie putt from there. Ooh, and this looks great. Oh man,
Yeah, it doesn't get much better than that.
that was beautiful. See, and Marshall wasn't too bad off right there, and he really capitalized on that.
Yeah,
That
he
good
had some
kick that he
awkward
got.
footing being close to that bush like he was, but he was able to pull it off nicely. And like you said, TK's pretty much open.
Go for it. Oh, hitting the cage.
And Joe cleaning up another birdie. Marshall for his par.
Oh,
Yeah, he actually stayed in bounds, but I think the fence might have kept him in bounds.
that's nuts. I don't think I've ever seen someone play back from back here. That's a good up.
Definitely made for a difficult approach shot, kind of. You know, that's tough. You had to cut it really tight. He left himself some work,
That
so
was a
it's hard
really
to
good par
really
save.
get around that corner.
That was a great save.
Yeah,
And a perfect 2 from Joe.
yeah.
There wasn't a lot of those on the day. But that was one of the harder holes, actually, on the day. The
Really?
third
The way
hardest
the
hole.
wind was blowing, I would have thought it was helping. Might have gave it a little bit of an increase in stats.
Just goes to show you how well these guys actually really did on that hole.
Yeah. So yeah, this one, that's basically what you want to do, but it's kind of headwind, so it's just stalling them out. so hard to get the height that you need to get over that row of aspens and still be able to punch forward
I wouldn't
enough.
be surprised if we see the thumber play from TK on this one.
That one full on boomeranged back around. I like this play. Again, if I had a better sidearm, it's probably what I would go for. Just nice high spike sidearm. Yeah, that wind just didn't want to let it cut. And yep, the thumber from TK. That's actually my go-to shot on this hole, so
I take
it
the
helps you get up
Wide-Heiser
highs.
with this wind.
Yeah, the wide hyzer in this wind is a definite possibility. You're
But
right.
the thumber definitely works
Yeah.
if you've got it. It tears my shoulder up too much, and I can't rely on it.
Yeah,
Full layout, full commitment to inbound. Did he stay in?
he did stay in. So here's TK. He's got to do the fun lob over the bushes putt. Oh, didn't quite get through.
Over the bushes and through the woods.
Yeah. Tyler didn't leave himself in a real great spot for saving his par, did he?
Oh,
Ooh. Yeah, Marshall was on the edge of the bank.
That
He
was
actually did stay up, so that was a
extremely
par
fortunate.
for him. TK will clean up his par.
Joe will take his, and Ty will come up and take the solo bogey on this one. But when you go OB, man, it's hard to save that par sometimes.
Yeah. Well, and to be the only one that got to this hole for a chance at a putt, even, that's saying something, because that wind was ripping.
And that hole was pretty average in terms of how it played to par. It was the 10th hardest hole.
Okay, so right around the middle of the field.
Actually, these next three holes are the middle of the field. It's the 10th, 8th, and 9th hardest holes.
All right, so we'll look forward to seeing those when we get back. That'll wrap up our front nine here. Got 3 players at even par and Joe sitting at 3 under, so we'll
And
see
honestly,
if they can
3
turn
under
this
feels
around.
like slaying it with these conditions.
Yeah, in this wind, being under at all is actually really good.
We'll
So
see how these guys navigate it on the next 9.
yep, we'll look forward to seeing you next time.